Welcome into Jets Training Camp Live. We are presented by Honda. It is a beautiful day in Florham Park. The Jets and the Crosstown Giants getting their joint practices underway. They'll have a practice here today, and then they'll go to the land of the G-Men tomorrow before Saturday night's game. Preseason action. That contest is the second preseason game of the season for the Jets. And speaking of that broadcast, CBS is your home for all the Jets action this preseason. Tune in to see your New York Jets take on the Giants at MetLife Stadium on Saturday, August 16th at 7 p.m. Ian Eagle on the call. He's going to be up there in the booth with Mark Sanchez. Quincy Newman's going to be in the radio booth. I'm Eric Allen. Welcome into Jets Training Camp Live. We got Q here. We got Mark Sanchez coming in all the way from California. How are you, buddy?
I'm doing great, guys. It's always good to be back here.
Thoughts on joint practices? Did you ever experience them with the Jets?
With the Jets, I don't believe so. But we did it in Philly, and we did it with New York. Chip Kelly, Bill Belichick were the head coaches at the time. And you seem to find coaches that are either close regionally, close schematically, have coached together. Right. And they understand what they're trying to get out of practice. They're like-minded in that way, whether it's the system, once again, schematically, or just how they want to be a tough program or be a great, defensive team or whatever it is. They want to align themselves with somebody regionally close and somebody like-minded so they can really get after it. And then a lot of times you let the rest of your roster play in the games.
Yeah.
And so people think, oh, no, we're not getting enough reps in preseason games. Well, it really happens in these 2 days of practice. These are grueling days.
The great thing for the Jets here is head coach Aaron Glenn, very familiar with Giants head coach Brian Daboll. The last 2 years, in fact, the Giants had joint practices with the Detroit Lions. So Daboll, known for what he can do on the offensive side of the ball. Of course, Aaron Glenn, a defensive coordinator, Q, the past 4 seasons with the Lions.
Yeah, a little bit of a mastermind matchup, right? I like the insight that Mark gave, right? Where you're going against people that have similar concepts and all those different things. When I played, we went against Washington, so that was a little bit of a different matchup for us. There's a little bit of drama. I don't know if anybody remembers that. I won't bring it up today.
No, bring it up.
But one of the things about that is some guys come from different teams, right? And if you leave that team with some bad blood, it ends up being, a little bit more drama than you might want at practice.
These guys get heated in practice?
Hey, listen, man, it's training camp. You know how that goes, man. Sometimes the testosterone starts to build up.
So that was 2016. So, Mark, I'll tell you about this one real quick. I remember Big Trent Williams getting involved, and Todd Bowles was the head coach of the Jets at the time. He tried to break up a fight. He took a big right hand. Yeah. Oh, my God.
Yeah, so Rex Ryan used to give us some good advice when fights break out. He would always say, the dumbest guy I always see on the fight replay is the guy who rips off his own helmet.
Yeah. That's right.
That's the stupidest thing you can do.
Absolutely.
A fight breaks out, buckle your chin strap. Number one. That's rule number one. Rule number two, he looked at us, he goes, Sanchez, get the hell away.
That's right.
Said, get the hell out of here.
You better not be throwing your right hand.
Look at it.
That's a good way of breaking your hand.
He said, hey, you guys get his ass out of here, and then you other knuckleheads go handle your business.
That's great.
All right, Sanchez, let's talk about the Jets quarterback, Justin Fields. He plays one drive against the Packers. The Jets had a good showing overall against Green Bay. What did you see from him in his short stint?
Well, the touchdown stands out, of course. His ability to run is unmatched. He's one of the top rushing quarterbacks in this league, still putting together his resume as a passer, but he looked sharp in the game. Missed one throw to Garrett Wilson on the edge, really. Other than that, he was on the money. The defense stayed back. He took the underneath throws to Beck, and there went the offense. So I love the rushing attack they're going to have. They're going to get a ton of that from him. Yeah. And now it's about picking his spots. When it's time to take the shot, when it's time to check it down. And if he can do that, if he can manage that, I think we all know what a dynamic player he can be.
Quincy, what did you see from first-year coordinator Tanner Engstrand? Because after the game, Aaron Glenn was quick to note that, hey, we had some plays down the field dialed up, but he took what they gave him underneath.
Yeah, absolutely. We got to see a little bit of somebody taking the shots in the fourth quarter, right? We got to see Adrian Martinez taking some shots. But overall, what I enjoyed was the dynamic part of the offense, right? A lot of motions, shifts, right? Making it a little bit difficult on the defense because, as we all know, last year was a little bit more stagnant, right? It was a different offense. So this year, we got to see a little bit more motion, shifts, right? And for a receiver, it's good because now I'm on the move, right? So I don't have to get a release. Sometimes that motion gets me a release.
Yep.
Jets Giants today. Unfortunately, we're not going to be able to see Sauce Gardner going against Malik Neighbors. Brian Daboll was just up at the podium, the Giants head coach, saying Neighbors is not going to practice today. So kind of a disappointment here at the start of practice. But Mark, I wanted to ask you about what's your anticipation with Angstrom this year? Because in Detroit, passing game coordinator, you're working with Jared Goff. Completely different skill set than a guy like Fields.
Oh, absolutely. And you got to play and cater your system to your players, to your personnel. And if it's a run-first team, there's nothing wrong with that. If the quarterback run is a threat, there's nothing wrong with that. That's just a section of the playbook. Your playbook might be, 12 inches thick, but we only need these 6 right here, and that's what we're going to major in. And that's the big deal. The big question mark to me, I love the run game. Those tackles up front, they got to be solid, right? Those young guys, 2 young guys, both first-round draft picks, stud players in college. Now you got to prove it at this level. But they were drafted high for a reason. So they're going to have to hold it down on the edge. Love the running back room, the receiver room. Where are we at? Who's going to help Garrett Wilson? And that's part of these kind of practices. Who can do it in these scenarios, in these situations, where we make it as hard as we possibly can? Then we look back and reflect at the film, dive into it, correct it, but somebody's got to help Garrett Wilson free up.
I want to get to the Jets offensive line and the matchup today with the Giants defensive line.
Ooh, that's a nasty D-line.
Yeah. Now, speaking of wide receiver, too, what do you think about Tyler Johnson? First couple drives, he had the key conversion.
Yeah.
3rd and 5, Fields goes to him for 6. Then that second drive, rookie Brady Cook takes over, and he hits him for a long gainer.
Yeah, I think ultimately it was really about being a veteran presence. I like that he was right where he needed to be for his quarterbacks, and that's why you bring a guy like that in, right? I think there's so many different guys that are competing for that wide receiver 2 spot. We had Lazard out there. Unfortunately, he got injured.
Yeah, that's right.
Then as well as Reynolds, right? So those guys want to take opportunities in this joint practice to make some plays because that is wide open, right? Like, there's so many different guys. We even have Arian Smith is another guy, a burner, who's trying to take that spot, so.
Yeah, and he won on one rep that was very nearly a touchdown.
Yeah, the go ball, yeah.
You got to see
he's got tremendous speed.
The replay was incredible because they were
neck and neck.
Foot to foot. Yeah. And he just accelerated. He's got an extra gear, and that was pretty cool to watch.
All right, so let's get back to Jets offensive line versus Giants defensive line. Can you talk about, if you're Fields, you've been working with 2 centers up there in Josh Myers and Joe Tippmann. Joe Tippmann had a great game, by the way, against the Packers. We'll get into that a little bit. But what about on the outside, those matchups? You're a broadcaster. Olu Fashanu could be facing his former college teammate today, Abdul Carter, who's had a tremendous training camp from what we hear. So we're excited to see him on the other side. Maybe it's Brian Burns going against Armand Membo.
Oh, these matchups on the edge are going to be huge. Don't forget about Kayvon Thibodeau.
Yep.
The backs having to come up and fit in some of that pass game stuff and some of the play action game. You better check those guys up front and make sure. We used to call it, getting a little rib or lung, right? So when you fake to the right, if there's play action to the right, you tell that back, hey, go help that right tackle, especially a rookie right tackle, Membu. You got to go help him, man. Take a little rib meat there on the way out. And then on the left side, you fake to the left side, go hit him in the lungs, man. Take his breath away and help out our second-year tackle in Fashanu.
Look at Sanchez. He said,
lung, baby.
He's taking body shots out here. He said, don't fight.
Get
out of the way, but
rules.
take some body shots.
Within the rules.
Hey, listen, we got a lot to catch up with you about this week, but the great thing is that you're going to be with the Jets throughout the week. And then remember, Saturday night, you're on the call with the Iron Eagle. That's a 7 o'clock start, Jets, Giants. Last question, I just wanted to ask you, if you had to pick a former teammate to join you in the booth.
Oh, in the booth?
Yeah, with you and I, and who would it be?
Oh, well, I'd get in trouble if I didn't say one of the quarterbacks, and O'Connell or Brunel, because they both got broadcaster experience.
Yeah.
Mangold would be fun, but I'm not sure anybody would watch our broadcast because we'd just be messing around the whole time. I need a defensive guy.
Really?
I might need a defensive guy to balance out the offensive perspective.
Okay.
If anything, one of my own, self-scouts is I'm offense heavy. I'm always rooting for the quarterback. You're always rooting for the offense, which, the hashes are close together in the NFL for a reason. They want the offense in the middle. We want points. Points sell. But
this is quite an audible, man.
But I do like having a defensive perspective up there. So probably have to call Rex.
All right. Good one. Good stuff. We'll see you out there on the field. Jets fans, New York Jets mini plans are on sale now. Lock in the same great seats for 4 matchups at MetLife Stadium, plus receive exciting benefits. Packages start at $156 per seat per game. Buy now at nyjets.com/mini-plans. All right, let's go down to the field right now and bring in Caroline Hendershot. Good morning.
Morning, EA. Yeah, I was in Green Bay on Saturday night, got to see the guys in action. Now, a lot of guys made some really good progress for themselves, specifically guys like Andrew Beck, Tyler Johnson, Donovan Edwards. You mentioned them a little bit earlier. Those were all some standouts, but 2 guys that really caught my eye on Saturday night. One was Jamarcus Weston. He played special teams. He was the gunner position, and let me tell you, he recovered that muffed punt by the Packers in the red zone. That's the kind of play that gets you to stand out when you are fighting for a spot on the 53-man roster. And someone else who also stood out to me, that's Jay Tufele. Like, Quinnen Williams not being in, no problem for him. He also got a defensive touchdown when he recovered a fumble. So I think those 2 guys in particular had really good games. All 5 players making a really good name for themselves in this preseason.
Jets game day is better together. Bring a group of 6 or more to MetLife Stadium and take advantage of preferred pricing, access to on-field experiences, and more. To book, visit nyjets.com/groups or call 973-549-4590. Sorry about that. I think Caroline dropped. She did a great job in the CBS broadcast on Saturday night. Great point there about Jamarcus Weston.
Yeah.
We've never seen a gunner that big, I think, in our professional careers, have we? He's about 255 on outside.
That's scary. I was telling EA, man, I'm a physical guy, but if I saw that coming at me, full speed, 30-yard head start, I think I might fair catch every time.
So heading into that ball game, we were talking about who's going to step up at defensive tackle because Quinnen Williams dealing with the calf. Yeah. We know the Jets are going to take a cautious approach there. Byron Cowart out of the lineup as well. How about Jay Tufele? I mean, he was incredible.
Yeah.
That's a career performance in less than a half.
Absolutely. And, he started off with the offsides, and I was like, oh, that's a rough start for him. But from then on, I mean, it was straight up the whole game. I mean, the tackles, the sacks, all those different things, the touchdown, right? I mean, the guy was all over the field, and it's exciting because, again, we look for who's going to be next to Quinnen during the season, and he's showing that, listen, it's going to be me. I want it to be me. I'm going to make sure that you guys know that.
Yeah, and that was one of the big questions heading into the offseason. A lot of change at defensive tackle next to Quinnen Williams, and Tufele certainly taking advantage of his opportunities out there. I wanted to flip it to the offensive side of the ball. We know the Jets are loaded at the running back position with that top 3, but 2 other guys that Caroline just mentioned. Donovan Edwards, the rookie out of Michigan, he took advantage of the opportunity. And how about the fullback, an old-school fullback, Andrew Beck, getting it done in the pass game?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the biggest thing for me with Edwards is after I watched him, I said, I got to go back and watch this guy's tape, man. And, he played Nebraska a couple of times, but I was not paying attention as much. And I was like, man, this guy's an exciting back, right? He's pushing the 3 guys in front of him, right? Because at the end of the day, it's going to be pretty hard for him to make the squad. But ultimately, his push, his success on the field is going to push the rest of the guys out there. And so it was exciting to watch him. And then with Beck, right, that's a guy that looks like he can play tight end, fullback, and you like that versatility in a guy like that. But then he's also a special teams ace, right? So you can put him all over the field. He's making a case for making the team.
After the game, Aaron Glenn said this was Darren Mushi's first signing back at the fullback position. And he also said that, hey, listen, I like having fullbacks in the National Football League. It's an interesting dynamic because you also have the tight ends who can move to the backfield as well.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think with the shifts, the motions, all those different things, you can really play at any spot, right? So a tight end that's an F position, this guy is going to be moving more. He can go into that backfield. So, again, he can play that fullback position, but he can also go in at the tight end position, H-back position.
All right, Jets-Giants joint practices starting here in Florham Park today. What does Aaron Glenn think about it? Let's take a listen.
I think it's really I think the players really enjoy that because they go against somebody different than their own guys. And you get a chance to test yourself, against some of the other elite players in this league. I mean, I'm looking forward to seeing Neighbors. I'm looking forward to seeing Russell. I'm looking forward to seeing all those guys. That D-line they have now, I know our O-line is looking forward to compete against those guys. So to get a chance to go against another team with really good athletes, really good players, Like, that's what you look forward to. And you look forward to seeing how your team is going to operate in stressful situations, because it is. I mean, we're going out there for one thing, is to get better, period. It's the only reason that we're doing this, is to get better against another team. And I look forward to that.
That's Jets head coach Aaron Glenn. He liked the brand of football the Jets played, but I liked the way he handled himself after the game, after that win over the Packers. He said plenty to clean up.
Yeah, absolutely. But if you're a fan watching, you're excited about the physicality, right? The run game was physical. The defense was physical. I mean, one thing I mentioned on the broadcast was Sauce came up in the first three plays. Over the field, man. Tackles, PBUs, all those different things, right? The things we wanted to see from Sauce, he showed it in that first drive. And I think it was great because he's setting the standard for the rest of the game.
All right, so what matchups have you most excited as far as today in Florham Park and then tomorrow at the Giants facility?
Yeah, I mean, obviously I would have loved to see the Neighbors, Sauce, Neighbors, Stevens, that matchup, right? But I think from there on, I think we talked a little bit about the defensive ends and the defensive tackles, right? Dexter Lawrence, right? Abdul Carter, their new draft pick. Kayvon Thibodeau, they got one more guy. I mean, all those guys are so talented, right? And so it's a great matchup for our defense. Our offense, they have some great guys that they play against on defense already. But to go against these guys on another team, it's going to be good for them.
I think the Giants might have had 41 pass attempts in their preseason opener against the Buffalo Bills. No sacks. They're rolling out 4 different quarterbacks. It's an interesting dynamic on the other side of the ball that the Jets are going to be going against today. You have a veteran starter in Russell Wilson, who obviously joined Big Blue in the offseason. You got the young rookie out of Mississippi, Jackson Dart. You got Jameis Winston, and then DeVito's still there as well.
Right. Yeah, I mean, one thing about the Giants so far that you've seen the last few years is they're going to have a quarterback challenge matchup, right? Like a bunch of different guys competing for the spot. So it'll be cool to see, who shows up, who makes the best throws, because, it'll be great for the defense to see those different guys out there.
All right, we'd be remiss if we didn't mention that the Jets are getting somebody back on the practice field, and that is Jermaine Johnson. Johnson passes the conditioning test. He started camp on the PUP active list. Now he'll be ready to go. So do you anticipate a ramp-up period for Johnson as he gets back on the field?
Yeah, I don't think he'll do anything this week, though.
Okay.
When I think about some of the times that I had to come back from injury, especially on a joint practice, I was still sitting out, right? Because you can't control what the other team does, right? Like, those guys are trying to make the squad, and so there's a good chance they're going to be going a little bit harder than what he needs at this moment. So he might do some individual, right? Stay away from any of those competing drills. And I know a guy like him wants to go out there and show.
Oh yeah, he's been chopping at the bit for months.
But I think this is not the week. Next week will be the week.
But that's huge news for the Jets. Absolutely. How about some wind in your sails after a really nice performance to start the preseason? Then less than 24 hours later, Johnson comes off the PUP list. And can you talk about how those guys potentially going to complement each other, him and Will McDonald?
Yeah, I mean, listen, we had a lot of pressure. We saw a lot of excitement from the interior defensive line. Yep. Now to get him back, we're starting to see something from the outside. Will McDonald had a great spin move that set up Jay to Philly sack, right? So there's so many different talented guys in that defensive line. I can't wait to see them bounce off each other.
All right, let's bring in Caroline Hendershot.
Yeah, EA, I know you guys were just talking about maybe this week isn't the week to bring back in Jermaine Johnson after he cleared his physical. I will say Brian Dable, ahead of practice today, did say they will not be tackling to the ground in today's practice and tomorrow's. He said that's for the game. We're going to save that for Saturday. However, someone I have my eye on today in these joint practices, that's Armand Membu. I thought he had a great game on Saturday. Helped give Justin Fields plenty of time to throw the ball, really created a nice pocket for him and the rest of the O-line. But going up against this Giants defensive line, now they remind me a lot of the Jets defensive line from 2022. If you remember them, they used to send them in waves, and it was not like the talent dropped off at all between the first string, the second string, the third string. So I think that's what we're going to see a lot of with the Giants, and someone who's a rookie who's probably just gotten his first taste of that full speed in Saturday night's game, Armand Membu. I think it's going to be a really good test to see him and how he does at today's practice.
That's a great point, and that's what Mark Sanchez said at the onset, too, is that he's going to be looking at those young tackles. And this is exactly what you want here at this point in training camp. You're going to get good work against one of the more talented defensive lines in the National Football League, bottom line.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the Jets have a great defensive line as well, but to go against another one that's pretty talented in their own right, I think it's going to be great work. We got some young offensive linemen, right? And one thing I want to point out, though, Tippmann was at guard in this last game. I mean, listen, these guys are talented. They play all over the place. Listen, they do whatever they need to do, and that's a great sign of a well-coached team.
Yeah, and we're going to monitor this throughout the week. Who's coming back to practice? Because 11 Jets did not make the trip to Green Bay, and we'll also have to see what's going on with Alan Lazard if we have an update on that situation as well. But it's going to be fun. A couple of days of practices out here begins in Florham Park. Then we're going to be live tomorrow there in the land of the Giants. That's going to start at 10 a.m. And then finally, Saturday night, it's Jets-Giants. Preseason game number 2, CBS, Ian Eagle on the call. We'll be up in the booth with Mark Sanchez, Caroline Hendershot, Otis Livingston there as well. It's going to be a fun week. Let's get out of here on this. Russell Wilson against that Jets pass rush. You mentioned Will McDonald, the spin move, and what he's been bringing as far as training camp is concerned. Had 10.5 sacks last year. He looks like he's going to another level here in his third year.
Absolutely. I'm excited to see it. And now I think one thing that's always great is having somebody on the other side to push you, right? Because you're going out there, you're competing, but when the other guy on the other side is competing as well and getting sacks, you want to go out there and do a little more. So it's going to be fun to watch that.
All right, so we got to get down on the field right now. But for all your coverage, NewYorkJets.com, also all our social platforms, we're going to be having highlights throughout the day. And then tomorrow morning, 10 a.m., we will be right back for joint practice number 2.